And now, live from the Daniel Scappin studio, deep in the foothills of the North Georgia mountains, it's Mike Malloy.
All right, hey everybody, Mike Malloy here. Welcome to Monday. It is the 16th of September 2024. Hope you had a great weekend. Mine was almost great, but it fell a little short. I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, my sponsor this evening is familiar to most of us who listen to this podcast, as I do. Yeah, I record it and then listen to it, and sometimes I just sit there and cringe. But anyway, my sponsor tonight, Russ and Maxine. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, Maxine. And it is a special occasion for them. This is the message. Well, it's been a little over 50 years since Maxine and I tied the knot, and now my bride has joined the Order of Octogenarians and doesn't look a day over 40. Yes. Also, she wants everyone to sponsor an hour of Mike's podcast just to make yourself feel better. It wouldn't hurt. Ow! All right. Thank you, Russ and Maxine, and congratulations to both of you for your long marriage and also for your long life. And Maxine not looking a day over 40, huh? I believe it from what I've heard about Russ and Maxine. I absolutely believe it. Anyway, congratulations, Maxine, and thank you, Russ and Max, for your sponsorship. I deeply appreciate it. If you'd like to sponsor, here he goes. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast or contribute in any manner to this little old podcast, please go to MikeMalloy.com, and the information on how to do that is readily available. And while you're there, please check out River Moon Coffee, River Moon Wellness. It is my only company sponsor, and they have been wonderful to me for the 3 or 4 years now that they have been doing this. Thanks to Jeff and Juanita, who own that company. They take care of their customers. They provide excellent products. And, of course, they write me a little check every month, too, depending on what people spend. So thank you for sponsoring, Max and Russ. Thank you for buying River Moon Coffee, whoever you are. And thank you to the people who do contribute to keep this podcast going. I'll have a number for you tomorrow, Tuesday, about how we did this past week. Alex Jones was very definite and specific after the massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School that killed, God knows how many, 22 first graders. Alex Jones wanted to make sure that everybody in America understood that those were crisis actors, that nobody died. It was all a plot to take away our guns. Well, Alex, where are you about this bullshit that happened on one of Trump's golf courses yesterday? That was all crisis actors too, right? Nothing really happened. And even the blob, the orange idiot, and by God, did you see ABC, CBS, NBC? They were all running a video taken by an obviously a telephoto lens, because the camera work, while the camera was steady, it was just some vibration because of the distance. But Trump, in his golfing outfit, I had no idea the man had blown up and bloated up to the extent that he has. Jesus fucking Christ, he must have a waistline of over 55 inches. It has to be. Just a huge blob standing out there on the golf course with his little hands and his little golf club in his little mouth. But boy, wasn't there a lot of commotion, huh? So there were some pop, pop, pop gunshots, apparently, and Trump just kept playing. I mean, he didn't give a shit. It couldn't possibly be somebody out to get him. How could it be? Which leads me to believe the whole thing was done by crisis actors. Nothing happened yesterday. Absolutely nothing. It's just another bullshit scam by the gruesome twosome. The orange blob and the other one, his pet ape, J.D. Vance. At least that's one way to look at it, right? Crisis actors. But on the slight chance that maybe something did happen, well, and it was as reported by the FBI and the Secret Service and just about every news agency and talk show and the anchor person for the past 24 hours, yet again, if something did happen, it all stems from the idea that when you talk violence, the way this orange bastard has been talking violence for, 10 years now? When you talk violence, eventually you attract it. And I honestly believe that's what has happened. It's been two, if you believe everything in the news, it's been two attempts to eliminate this filthy pig, neither of which was successful. And if that's the case, then maybe we should consider the vile, racist, homophobic, anti-democratic, anti-constitutional, anti-rule of law vomit that comes out of this crazy bastard's mouth, and the violence. Beat him up, smack him around. Hey, cops, don't be so easy when you put people in the squad car. Let them bang their fucking heads. Who cares? Beat that guy up, slam that one. Attack the Capitol. I'll march up there with you. You're going to have to fight like hell. Trump is an instigator of violence, but he's a type of instigator. You probably had a kid like this in one of your classes when you were in elementary school, right? The little punk bastard who goes around saying he wanted you and you. These two, you guys have a fight. Come on, you know what he said about you? And then he runs to the other one. You know what he said about you? Trump is an instigator. He's a promoter of violence. He's a hate-filled, degenerate, fucking dementia-riddled man who is bringing to himself the violence he's been talking about for over a decade now. Violence, violence, violence. Who was it that said, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword? Well, anyway, thank goodness we have somebody like Alex Jones who had the courage to point out to us all those years ago that the 26, 24, whatever it was, number of people, 90% of whom were sweet little kids who were murdered at Sandy Hook Elementary. Thank God Alex Jones had the presence to point out to us that none of that happened. It was just a bullshit plot by the liberals to take away their guns. Unreal. It's just unreal. I mean, what we have gotten into in this country with the advent of this filthy fucker Donald Trump is just outrageous. He has done nothing, even before he came on the political scene. All he talked about was killing other people, executing people, slamming people into prison, deporting people, beating people up, brutalizing people, as long as they didn't look like him. And as long as they were willing to talk about what a glorious, wonderful human being he is, was, always shall be, world without end, amen and amen, right? So no, Trump didn't turn this country violent. This country has always been violent. In fact, you could make the argument that this country is, in some ways, more violent than other countries. In other ways, maybe not so much in the past 10 years. It's hard for me to find a period of American history when white people were not committing violence. I'm sorry. I mean, you may be white if you're listening to this podcast. I am. Well, I'm not white. I'm off-white. I'm not even off-white. I'm kind of brownish, I guess. because of my heritage. But this country has always been violent. It doesn't make any difference how much we talk about gun safety or gun control. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference how much we talk about the horror that was perpetrated against our black brothers and sisters. It doesn't make any difference how often we talk about the absolute genocidal horror committed against Native people on this continent when the white Europeans first got here. It doesn't make any difference how much talk about the violence and the murder and the mayhem committed by the Catholic Church. Yeah, I'm kind of drilling down on the Catholic Church because I'm hoping that during the second part of the podcast today, I can tell you what J.D. Vance has aligned with. It's something much worse than MAGA. But anyway, the garbage and the violence and the filth that tumbles out of Trump's mouth 24/7, and the way he doubles down, triples down. I mean, when it's pointed out to him that what he's talking about is bullshit, that what he's claiming is causing an entire city to be made into a target. And I mentioned this over the weekend in my weekend podcast. What Trump has done to Springfield, Ohio, and his pet ape, J.D. Vance, what they've done to Springfield, and Aurora, Colorado is the next target. Only in Aurora, it's Venezuelans. In Springfield, it's Haitians. But what Trump has done is just a preview of what he would do if he gets the presidency again. Because Trump knows that all he has to do is say something like, well, they're eating pets in Springfield, Ohio. Can you imagine anything more disgusting? And when I'm president, I'm going to deport all of them. And in this case, Springfield, Ohio becomes a goddamn target. And if Trump is president again, this is what he'll do. He will target a city. He'll target a county. He'll target a group of people. He'll target an organization. And then immediately, the fucking monsters who support this son of a bitch, the real dregs of American democracy, the ones who, for example, showed up on January 6th at the Capitol, the ones who are sending death threats and bomb threats to hospitals and schools in Springfield because this rotten son of a bitch ordered them to do it. Oh, he didn't come out and say, all right, everybody, let's have some bomb threats in Springfield. He doesn't have to. Trump has made it so clear that he believes, well, they're good people in the Nazi Party. He said that. They're good people on both sides. Well, so please keep in mind that what we are seeing in Springfield is a precursor of what this evil man will do, and he will, if somehow he gets the presidency again. All he need do is start squealing his little pig sounds about how he's mistreated, how people in this city are eating cats and dogs, how people in that city are raping children, how people in this city over here are committing illegal abortions. That's all this filthy monster has to do. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on.
I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.